Good morning, everyone. I understand we have quite a few people on Zoom today, so especially good morning to them. Some of that is because of traffic and trying to keep out of it. Some of that is illness, and some of that is people away. So we include more than we can see, which is often something in faith, isn't it? We have a different service today, a reflective and quieter service, concentrating on the story of Friday itself, the crucifixion of Jesus. Let us worship God. No one enjoys experiencing sorrow, lament, or grief. Yet these are natural parts of the rhythm of life. These moments make us feel vulnerable and exposed, so we avoid them. And in doing so, we deny ourselves an important opportunity to meet God in different ways. To be clear, we should not seek out sorrow or lament or grief, nor should we chase these experiences in order to pass some kind of test from God. God does not play games with creation. God does not think so little of our hearts and minds to deliberately put us through experiences that cause us harm. Rather, in the midst of so much pain that we have in the world, God makes God's self known. This Good Friday service rests in the belief that in places of sorrow, lament, and grief, we meet God differently. In our culture of conflict avoidance, we too often rush through these moments, touching down as lightly as possible as we reach out for the new life offered on Easter Sunday. In doing so, we do not give ourselves a chance to meet the God who sits with us in the sorrow. With this in mind, central to this service is creating a space where people can gather around the cross with as much vulnerability as possible, in silence and in sorrow. So, welcome to our service of silence and sorrow on this Good Friday. During the service, we'll be sharing times of silence in 3-minute intervals to symbolise the 3 hours Jesus suffered on the cross before he died. During our times of silence, we don't need to worry about controlling our thoughts or blocking out the sounds around us. In a world filled with so much noise, silence can be uncomfortable, can be startling, but it can be healing and revealing. If the time feels long, hear that as a prompting from God to open ourselves even more. Today in this silence, we meet God in new ways. In this space, and for those on Zoom in their spaces at home or wherever they are at the moment, you're invited to hold your body and soul in whatever ways you are most comfortable. Listen to your breath, inhale and exhale, and be open to how the Spirit may move your soul. We'll be prompted into silence with the ringing of a chime. And we'll be invited out of the silence with the same chime. And then we'll be singing the first verse of were you there when they crucified my Lord? So David's going to lead that. And it may be that you feel like you want to be part of that and sing with David. Maybe depending on what's happened to you in the silence, you might just want to sit and listen. The words, for those who don't know them, we're not going to have any words on screen or hymn books or any pieces of paper to rustle around. It's quite simple. The verse is simply, were you there when they crucified my Lord? And you repeat that. And then, oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. And then the same line again, were you there when they crucified my Lord? I think it's a pretty familiar little hymn that it comes from. In fact, David, can I ask you to lead us singing that once now, please?
Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they crucified my Lord?
As Gordon lessens our light, let's now fully enter into this space of sorrow and silence, focused on this question for the first opening one. What sorrows, whether they be our own sorrows or the world's sorrows, do we bring into this space? What sorrows, our own or the world's, do we bring into this space today?
Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they crucified my Lord?
As we enter the final moments of the life of Christ, we seek not to rush to the resurrection, but to sit at the foot of the cross, a place where none of us want to be, but a space many of us know all too well. So here we are gathered together in the discomfort and disruption, in the grief and sorrow, and in the anger and anguish at the foot of the cross. As we gather, we also know that the sorrows of the world are created and reinforced by individuals and communities, with action or inaction, with subtlety or subconsciousness, with intent or impunity. For all the ways that we have added to the sorrow of others, or to the sorrow of ourselves, we lament and we confess. As we enter this time of silence, let us reflect on the question, how have I, or how have we, added to the sorrow around us, personally, communally, or globally? How have I, or how have we, added to the sorrow around us?
Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they crucified my Lord?
Friends, we are forgiven for even our worst thoughts and deeds. We are forgiven not as humans forgive and with limit, but as only God is able to forgive with the Holy One's unimaginable limitlessness. For this, we are grateful. Thanks be to God. Our scripture readings today come from Matthew chapter 27, which tells the last moments of the life of Jesus. After each reading, we will have a time of silence and reflection on the question, how is this sorrow known today? So we're hearing the chapter in three parts. Each focus, well, the first one focusing on how the soldiers mocked Jesus, second one on the crucifixion, and then the third one on the death of Jesus. But each time this question, how is this sorrow known today?
So Jesus and got about they switched the star rather than the things they put on his head. Couldn't be by that. Then say, hell to the Jews. And smack to be struggling there.
How is this sorrow known today?
Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they crucified my Lord?
As they went out, they came upon a man from Cyrene named Simon. They compelled this man to carry his cross. When they came to a place called Golgotha, excuse me, which means place of a skull, they offered him wine to drink mixed with gall. When he tasted it, he would not drink it. And when they had crucified him, they divided his clothes among themselves by casting lots. Then they sat down there and kept watch over him. Over his head, they put the charge against him, which read, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." Then 2 bandits were crucified with him, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by derided him, shaking their heads and saying, "You who would destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you're the Son of God, come down from the cross." In the same way, the chief priests also, along with scribes and elders, were mocking him, saying, "He saved others, he cannot save himself. He's the King of Israel. Let him come down from the cross now and we'll believe in him. He trusts in God. Let God deliver him now, if he wants to. For he said, 'I am God's son.'" The bandits who were crucified with him also taunted him in the same way.
How is this sorrow known today?
in the afternoon. At about 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, my God, why have you forsaken me? When some of the bystanders heard it, they said, this man is calling for Elijah. At once, one of them ran and got a sponge and filled it with sour wine, put it on a stick and gave it to him to drink. But the other said, wait, let us see whether Elijah will come to save him. Then Jesus cried again with a loud voice, breathed his last.
How is this sorrow known today? In response to the word, you're invited to bring the sorrows and sufferings of this world to the cross. These can be personal, communal, or global. For no matter the level of pain, God can hold it all. Because sorrow comes in many forms, we can do this in three possible ways. You can drop a stone or a nail onto the cross here, or you can hammer a nail into the cross. Some hammers and nails down here and stones. Or you can extinguish a candle. There's a little implement down on this table to help snuff out candles so you don't have to blow. We can extinguish one of these candles. So for people at home, I asked yesterday if they could have a special space with a cross as a focus, and they might be able to do something similar where you are at home. Might help to, as we will do here too, dim the lighting at home too. So as you come forward and leave your sorrow, you're invited, you can speak that sorrow out loud if you wish, or simply hold it to yourself. If you prefer to remain in your seat, Gordon can bring a stone or a nail or something to you. So just wave to Gordon and ask for that, and he'll bring it to you, and you can just hold on to that where you are and pray. After everyone has had a chance to come forward or to do that prayer, another chime will ring, and we will end our time as we started, in silence. And after that 3 minutes of silence, the chime will be rung 3 times for the 3 hours that Christ was on the cross. And at the end of the 3rd chime, the space will become dark and we will all leave in silence. So let's now offer our sorrows to God. As we approach the cross, let's join in singing the 2nd verse, which is all very similar, but it just says, were you there when they nailed him to the tree? So we'll sing that now. Thanks, David. Come, let us bring the sorrows and sufferings of the world to the cross.